Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the latest edition of Choppin It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Hey, listen, I'm glad you could tune in and be with me. I'm glad to be with you. Remember, you can follow me on YouTube. You can catch me at Troy Ramel Royal. You see all my videos. Please tune in, subscribe. I want you to be part of the show. Feel free to call up. The number is 706-801-5926. It's on the screen. Once again, the number to be part of the show, 706-801-5926. Lots to talk about, but where do I begin with? No other than at the TD Gardens in Boston last night. What we watched last night was an epic performance by Isaiah Thomas, known as the IT department. Listen, I've been watching basketball as long as I can remember. And there has been some outstanding moments. None bigger than Magic Johnson suiting up at center in his rookie season in Game 6 against the Philadelphia 76ers in the championship game when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goes down. He scores 42 points. So forth, you know the story. They win. Michael Jordan, as a young lad, steps into arena against the dominating Boston Celtics in the playoffs and put up 63 points in a losing effort. Isaiah Thomas, on a broken ankle against the Los Angeles Lakers, in the third quarter puts up 20-somewhat points. There's many stories that go on. Michael Jordan, in the finals against Utah, he was sick. Literally had to be held, carried, cuddled by his on-the-court probably best friend, protector, whatever you want to call it, in Scottie Pippen. But then there's Isaiah Thomas. Last night, in overtime, 53 points. Let me throw some numbers at you. He scored 29 points in the fourth quarter and the overtime combined, while the Wizards scored 30. 29-30. By the way, they won by 10 in overtime. He had 53 points. It comes on the eve, well, not the eve, but we know the story. He attended the funeral a couple of days ago, still a little emotional, of his younger sister. Coincidentally, yesterday happened to be her birthday. Had his tooth knocked out the game before. Had 6 hours worth of oral surgery to put in a fake tooth. And he comes and put on one of the most incredible performances that we're seeing. It's up there somewhere. I'm not going to say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to say it was one of the greatest performances in NBA playoff history that I've witnessed. One of the greatest. 53 points. And oh, by the way, here's an interesting nugget. He's barely 5'9". 5'9", barely. This guy puts up 53 points. He was a one-man show last night as the Boston Celtics come from behind once again to win in overtime, 129-119. Unbelievable what we've seen. But as I watched this game, this was one of the better games all year that I watched. And maybe one of the better playoff games that I watched in some recent time. I mean, I got text messages. I was talking with my wife about it. It had a feel of the 90s with a touch of today's game because of the high scoring. It just had a little bit of everything. Bloody noses, hard fouls, guys just going after it. I mean, these two teams, if there's a rivalry in basketball right now, these two teams are a rival. And Washington should be kicking themselves because they had a chance not only to win yesterday's game, but to win the first game. They could easily be 2-0, no less than 1-1, but now they go home to be 0-2, and they have no one to blame but themselves. And Isaiah Thomas, what a story. What a story this guy is. Those who have been following me all year, I've been lobbying for this guy to be MVP. I thought he was the game's best closer this year, as he was hovering around 11 points fourth quarter this season. And he showed why he should be an MVP candidate last night. He showed why. If you want to be part of the show, please give us a call, 706-801-5926. He gave us reasons why he should be considered MVP. And I'm going to throw another interesting tidbit at you guys. In 1961, and hey, Kev, what's going on? Follow me on this. Walk with me on this one, Kev. In 1961, Oscar Robertson got the triple-double. Averaged a triple-double. In that same year, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points a game and 25 rebounds. Now let's flash back. Westbrook. Let's fast forward, I should say. Westbrook, triple-double. Harden nearly led the league in scoring and assists. In that year in 61, who won the MVP? Bill Russell. Can we see history repeat itself? As Isaiah Thomas sneak in, can he sneak in and win the award? Because I think he can win the award. If they awarded it to him, I would be okay with it. Because I hear that Westbrook can't win the award because his team is a 6 seed and you need to be 1 through 4. Okay. Well, Isaiah's team was number 1 in the East. And that's beating out the defending champion. Whether you want to make excuses for Cleveland or not, for not capturing it because of this, because of that, da-da-da-da-da, Boston did it on the shoulders of Isaiah Thomas. And those shoulders are very big on the frame of a 5'9" guy who's barely 5'9". And last night, as John Wall, who had an epic performance going through 3 quarters, ran out of gas, this guy looked like he just took a 3-hour energy drink because he was on full as he went into the fourth quarter in overtime. And like I said, he had 29 points. The Wizards had 30. Marquise, I appreciate the love. Nice of you tuning in. Once again, if you want to be part of the show, give me a call. 706-801-5926. Love to hear from you. Isaiah Thomas. I mean, I'm not going to rank him where he belongs in history and this and that. But right now in the NBA, this guy is here, and he's a force to be reckoned with. And shame on Danny Ainge for not pulling the trigger on getting a Paul George or a Jimmy Butler at the break. Because if they fail to get past the next round, it's because they don't have a bona fide second star to take some of the load off of this guy. It's all on Danny Ainge's shoulder. This is a win-now league. No one is prepared for the future. You win now. Nothing is promising. You have an opportunity. You have a guy having a career season, maybe a breakout season of seasons to come. You get the guy some help. You know, I talk to people every day. I look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, you don't bet against them. But my question to you folks is Cleveland a better team than last year's Cleveland team? I say no. Doesn't mean they can't win a championship. Doesn't mean they don't go to the championship. But I don't think they're a better team. If that's the case, if you better your team, you can at least close the gap. If not, surpass them. And that's why I thought Danny Ainge was the biggest loser at the trade deadline for not pulling the trigger to get a Robin to go along with a Batman, a player who's masquerading as a Batman, but he's clearly Boston's Batman. And last night, he showed that he is their Batman. He showed he can be a Batman. I want to repeat this. 53 points. And not to mention, he had to outdo his counterpart, John Wall, who, by the way, had 40 points, 13 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 3 steals. He had an all-around game. The problem is he ran out of gas. And that's on Scott Brooks. At some point, you got to play Brandon Jennings not to do anything other than just to give John Wall a rest. Because one thing we know, fourth quarter belongs to Isaiah Thomas. The IT department is open in the fourth quarter, and last night he went berserk. Fourth quarter and overtime. And this guy just don't rely on jump shots. He goes to the basket. He does everything but dunks the ball. Kev, Cleveland is missing something. And I thought about what it was that they're missing. And I can't believe I'm saying this because their defense is down this year. I didn't think this guy makes a difference. But I figured it out, Kev. And you can chime in on this. They're missing Dellavedova. They're missing Delly. Delly will put pressure on the guards, putting the opposing team to get into their sets late. A lot of times shooting late in the shot clock. But now, with Kyrie Irving and Darren Williams, the team killer, showing too much respect for the opposing point guard, allowing them to do what they want, get to the basket, causing too much pressure on Tristan Thompson. And a lot of times he has to come and converge on a guy cutting to the basket. His man is left open for a dump off or offensive putback. That's where the problem is. They don't have the guy that pressures the ball up on the perimeter. And Iman Shumpert is so inconsistent this year that you can't rely on him either. So I think what Cleveland is missing is a little bit of intensity on a defensive side. And the only player I can think that they're missing is Delly. What you got out of Richard Jefferson last year was out of admiration. If you thought you was going to get that in back-to-back years, you were gambling. And it didn't pay off. It didn't pay off. Shannon Fry is not a defensive guy. Okay? You let go of DeAndre Liggins, who I thought was the guy to keep because I thought he pressured the ball a little bit. And like I said, between Iman Shumpert and even J.R. Smith, they've been inconsistent. If it wasn't for the Big Three's offense, Cleveland would not be in games. And that's the bottom line. And Toronto, to me, in order for them, because I had Toronto beating Cleveland, in order for Toronto to beat Cleveland, Ibaka is have to neutralize Kevin Love. You're not stopping LeBron. You're not stopping Kyrie Irving. But you cannot let Kevin Love be in the same sentence as those two. You have to neutralize him. Ibaka's got to have the better of the game. But getting back to the Boston game, the performance of Isaiah Thomas, his heart being heavy, sister's birthday, all of that just gives you all the ingredients for a masterpiece picture, a masterpiece dinner, whatever you want to create. It was there for the making, and Isaiah was there for the taking. And this little guy could not be guarded, nor could he be stopped. What a tremendous performance. As I said, he had 6 hours of oral surgery as well. On top of the loss of his sister, because that's going to linger through the playoffs. Then her birthday, and now you sitting up somewhere in the dentist chair getting 6 hours worth of surgery. Yeah, well, you're right about the defense in the NBA. First of all, to me, the rules change has affected the NBA game. And that's why you only have really one rivalry in the sport, and it's Boston and Washington. They took away the hard fouls. Okay, player safety, whatever the case is. But when you took away that, you just made open season for offense. You brought the zone defense in, made it open season for perimeter shooting. There's no hand checking. You know, today's rules, and when we judge players from today to yesterday, it's hard because of rule changes. But I want to ask you guys a question. Could you imagine Michael Jordan today in today's rules? Could you imagine? I'm going to throw another name at you that maybe you don't know, but to me, it's a shame he's not in the Hall of Fame. Could you imagine Kevin Johnson today playing in today's rules? Where there's no hand checking? How about the original Isaiah Thomas? No hand checking. And then here's another thing, Kev, I want to throw at you too, why the defense is not like that, like it once was. Because everybody's buddy-buddy. Man, when I used to watch the Knicks and Chicago playoff games, you had no idea that Jordan and Oakley was best friends. You had no idea that they were best friends. Today, you know who's everybody's buddy. They're helping each other off the court. They're having dinner before and after games. That stuff didn't go on. That didn't go on. And I blame the league for that. And it goes back to when? To the first Dream Team. That's when it came back. It goes back to. Because when they assembled the first Dream Team, every group of kids coming out of college wants to do better than the Dream Team. They want to come up with their own Dream Team scenario. Everybody want to play with each other. There's no Dream Team one ever, and college kids were still going to the Olympics. I don't think you have the big three in Miami. I don't think Durant goes to Golden State. The league is too buddy-buddy. Bring back the hard fouls so that rivalries can come back. They can be friends in the offseason or in retirement. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson was going head-to-head from college throughout their NBA career. Wasn't best friends. They're best friends today. Great friends today. Give us 13 years of just solid basketball and team sport. And never mind that buddy-buddy. Let's get some defense back into this game. It was a pleasure to watch last night's roughhouse game. I don't know about that, Tracy. Only thing I know about Jordan, he protected Scottie Pippen, went to his agent and told his agent, do not let the Knicks re-sign X-Men. Otherwise, they would have had a chance to beat Chicago. But yes, Isaiah Thomas last night was something special. And I don't think this is when you have this kind of story behind you, and I may be getting long-winded, but when you have this kind of story behind you, it's almost destined that you're not going to be denied. If the Boston Celtics was to win the championship this year, I would not be surprised. Because in that same year, 1961, when Wilt Chamberlain had an epic season, Oscar Robertson had an epic season, and Bill Russell won the MVP, they also won the championship. It would not surprise me during this epic season that James Harden is having and Westbrook has had, that Isaiah Thomas, fueled by the loss of his sister, that emotion, that team camaraderie. I mean, after the game, you couldn't get 2 feet near him because his teams were surrounding him so much. It would not surprise me if the Boston Celtics go on to the championship. I'm not putting money on it or anything like that, but there's always a story behind a great success. There's always a story. And Isaiah has a story. He has a story. And it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me, not one bit. If you want to be part of the show, call up 706-801-5926. Love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. With the game that took place in Boston last night, I almost forgot there was another game. I didn't even watch the other game, to be honest with you. That was like 2 games in one for me. And it seemed like there was no excitement at all in the Golden State game. Golden State won. Utah couldn't get no rhythm. I mean, for crying out loud, they was led by Gobert with 13 points. Rodney Hood came off the bench for 13 points. Hayward had 12. Johnson had 11. Golden State was led by Curry. He had 22 and the only one to have 20. The starting five was all in double figures. Nobody off the bench was in double figures. The score was 106-94. I mean, it was almost like a snooze fest. You know, it's funny. Golden State is must-see TV. After that game, I went and watched the recorded episode of If Loving You Is Wrong. I cannot deny. It wasn't all basketball. It's just that watching that game, I don't think we was going to get anything close to that. I apologize. But Golden State did win. They won 0 in that series. I look for them to win the series in 5 games. I do think that Utah will get one at home. I think Utah is going to battle them, but I don't think Utah can do anything with them. And Utah's got to make a good showing here, because what they did against the Clippers, I predicted that, and that was nice. But they got to make a good showing here, because they got a guy that they got to find out whether he's worth $200 million to stay in Utah, or is he willing to stay in Utah. And that's Gordon Hayward, because his college coach is over there with the IT department. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm a Jay Crowder fan. I'm not a Amir Johnson fan, but I'm a Jay Crowder fan. I like his grit and I like his toughness. But I'll move him to the 4 and put Gordon Hayward at the 3. And you put him alongside of Avery Bradley and Isaiah Thomas. You got a nice little start 5 there. Because now you got someone that can take a little pressure off of Isaiah Thomas. And that's a good fit there. He can hit the outside shot. And you know what Gordon Hayward needs? He needs to be in a big city. Because he's probably one of the best players that don't get a chance to make the All-Star game in this league. You know, I tell you what, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. And Kev, you know basketball, so you tune in on this. I have Gordon Hayward, the number 4 small forward in the league. I'll count it down. LeBron, Durant, Kawhi, Gordon Hayward. Over Paul George. Yes, over Paul George. And over Jimmy Butler, as he made the conversion to the 3, but I think he's really a 2, but even over him too. But yes, Utah needs to make a good showing. A good showing if they want to keep a hold to Gordon Hayward, because he's going to be one of the most sought after free agents. I mean, he could look good in OKC with Westbrook and fill that 3 spot. He would look good in Boston. He would actually look good in Washington. Now, I don't know about the money. I haven't looked into that. I'm just throwing out scenarios. What's going on, Skip? How you doing? Yes, I take him over Paul George. To me, Paul George, they showed this stat, and I was waiting for it. They showed this stat in the series against Cleveland. Paul George has never had a big moment. He's never hit a big shot. He's never led his team to anything. We always give Paul George the benefit of the doubt and give him breaks and want to praise him and put him in that upper echelon, but he hasn't done nothing. He had that nice little run when Hibbert was a factor. Granger was on the team. But outside of that, he hasn't done anything. And when he had the injury in the Olympic trial, everybody, felt for him. And they've been on that shoulder of his from that as a fan. But he hasn't done anything. And no big shot moments at all. And right now, I don't think he's an elite player in the league. I don't even think he's top 10 in the league. Now, do I want him on my team? Sure. But I just don't think he's in that upper echelon. And I will take Gordon Hayward over Paul George any day. I think that Paul George can go off the dribble just as well as Paul George. I think Hayward can go off the dribble just as well as Paul George. But I think Hayward is the better player playing off the ball with a point guard than Paul George because of his shooting prowess. And Paul George is not a defensive specialist. So it's not like he's here in defense and Gordon is down there. Be part of the show. Call up 706-801-5926. Love to hear from you. But yes, I got Golden State winning in 5. I just think Utah will play tough. They're going to have a long off season. Hold on, may I have a call? Who's on the line? Hello? Hello?
Hey, this is Carol from Home Security Promotions.
Carol from Home Security Promotions. Someone's trying to sell me a home security. I already have one. All right, but back to this. Gordon Hayward is a special talent. He would be a great fit in a lot of teams. He's going to be a sought-after free agent. Again, I don't know where the money is, how it's going to be distributed. But if he stays in Utah, he can make close to $200 million. If he decides to leave, he can make $160 million. Let me say something to you guys. $160 million, $200 million, to me, it's all the same. It's unspinnable. Yes, when you start talking about 160, 200 million, it's unspendable. Unspendable. And yes, I do say Gordon Hayward over Paul George. Got a call. Hold on. Who's on the line?
I'm chopping it up with Ramel. This is Skip.
What's going on, Skip? It's been a while.
Yeah, it is, bro. Yeah, listen, B.
I look
Listen, I love you. You know we Ravens went deep.
Yes.
My brother, I can't, I know you a Gordon Hayward super fan.
I wouldn't say all that, but I do respect his game.
The only reason I say that is because of that last statement.
Oh, yeah. I stand firm behind that. I would take him over Paul George any day.
I can't put him over Jimmy Butler or Paul George. I just can't.
Well,
not at this stage. He's got to show me some more.
Well,
I will give you top 10, but I will not put him number 3 behind Kawhi.
No, number 4. I got him number 4. I got him number 4 at the 3. LeBron, Durant, Kawhi, and Gordon Hayward. I'll take Gordon Hayward over Paul George any day. Paul George is missing something. He don't have that it, and I think we want to give him that it. I think we watched him as a pup when he went up against Miami, when he had Danny Granger, Roy Hibbert. We gave him some love. Then when he got that injury, that severe injury, everybody was rooting for him. But now that he's had his own team, Skip, what has he done? He's done absolutely nothing.
I think he feels that he needs a point guard because what's his name? Truly, Jeff Teague did not turn into what they thought he was going to turn to when he went there.
Perhaps.
And he's got a lot of young big men around him. I think he's looking at everybody else and saying, I need that second star on my team. Utah, Gordon Hayward is the star. I like that George Hill pickup for them, even though he played like crap in game 1. But Utah, and I love Quinn Snyder. I thought he's a great coach. I just feel that I don't think I totally disagree with the fact about Gordon Hayward being better than Paul George off the dribble. That I can't give you.
No, I said he's just as good off the dribble. Watch Gordon Hayward. He's crafty with the ball. He's crafty.
He's crafty, but you know where we come from. I guess because we're biased, because we come from the streets of New York, and you know we look at the boogie that maybe Melo has with the ball, and Gordon Hayward is a sound basketball player. That's why everybody loves him. He does all the little things well. He's a good shooter. He's a good passer. He's a good defender. He's head smart. He has a great personality. He's a good teammate. Yeah, he has all the intangibles that a GM wants. But to say that he's on that elite level of past Jimmy Butler had 2 great years with game-winning baskets. That's why I can't put him above Jimmy Butler. Well,
I have Jimmy Butler still listed as the 2. I was saying from the 3 perspective. I think Jimmy Butler just played out of position this year. I think he's still a 2 guard. But I am still going to stand by my words. I tell you what. Let's just say Paul George was on Boston. All right? Now take Paul George off Boston. Put Gordon Hayward there. Which team would be better? With Paul George or with Gordon Hayward?
Different style, a lot of one-on-one play there. Gordon Hayward comes off a lot of picks.
And this is what I'm saying to you is this. And this is why I take Gordon Hayward off over Paul George. I think off the dribble, Gordon Hayward is just as good as Paul George. But playing off the ball, Gordon Hayward is a much better player. His shooting prowess is much better than Paul George. He's closer to automatic than Paul George will ever be. Than he will ever be.
I seen it. You know what? I think the difference also, I don't have the package, so I don't get to watch a lot of Utah games. So you know, you may have a different perspective because you have the package and you get to watch all the games.
I do watch a lot of games.
Yeah, I didn't do the package, so I didn't get to see a lot of Gordon Hayward games. I only see the nationally televised games. So you may have a different perspective than what I have, because you know on the East Coast we see more Indiana games than we will.
Right. Understand.
Utah games.
Understand. And Utah is just not a sexy pick right now. I mean, the fact that they beat the Clippers in the first round is probably going to open the door for them to get a little bit more national exposure, especially if – no, I'm talking about Utah. Especially if they're able to hang on to Gordon Hayward. Because Gordon Hayward, you know, remember, he missed that jump shot at half court that nearly beat Duke under the guidance of Brad Stevens. And he will look nice in Boston. He will look very nice in Boston.
He would.
And Tracy, shout out to you. He said with Hayward, Boston would be better. I just think that the difference for me with Gordon, and I know I'm repeating myself, it's just that I think that when it comes down to Paul George, he's much better off the ball and more reliable. Paul George is a rhythm player. Once he's in a rhythm, yeah, he can't be stopped. But Gordon Hayward he's pretty special.
But no, I'm not disagreeing with you with that point. My point just is this: with a ball-dominant point guard in Boston, Gordon Hayward all players that go to Boston have to make an adjustment to play with Isaiah. Well, Isaiah's in Boston. Paul George and Gordon Hayward will be spot-up players.
Now,
they will be waiting for him to come off that pick and roll and make the extra pass.
Now, here's the question. If one of those players, and especially Gordon Hayward, was in Boston, would Isaiah Thomas be as ball dominant as he is? Right now, I think he has to. If he doesn't, they don't win.
But that's a question. But if they're going to be better, see, that's a double-edged sword, because if you're saying they're going to be better with Gordon Hayward, then Isaiah has to change his game to fit in another superstar.
Well, I look at Isaiah. He's a willing passer, because a lot of times they pass him the ball. He just don't come down and pull up. He fights off screens. A lot of times he gives it up, works himself around, and get free off a couple of screens. So I believe a star like Gordon Hayward or any other star will work in Boston. And plus, Brad Stevens is one of the best young minds in the game. He will make it work. And if he has a chance,
I agree.
And if he has a chance to have Gordon Hayward, his pupil, on his team, he's not going to bring him there to average 8 shots a game. He's going to make him a factor. And
I agree.
I tell you what. Yeah, so, man, I still take Gordon Hayward over Paul George. Now, no knock on Paul George. I just think that he's lacking something, and we're trying to give it to him, and he's never proved it. He's never proved it.
My whole thing is, I mean, listen, I hear what you're saying, and all this is hindsight. Everything we're talking about is hindsight, because the bottom line is simply this. We won't know until we know, until we see it.
Until we see something, right? I understand.
I mean, but I understand. I mean, yes, I think, to be honest with you, and I want to give you this, I think that Gordon Hayward will probably be a better fit on teams more than Paul George, because of his ability to attack, because of the intangibles that he brings, because of the type of basketball player he is. I agree with that.
And it just might make him better. It just might make him better.
I agree with that.
You know,
however, talent-wise, I still think I just think Paul George is better. Because his resume is long, he put in the work. I just think he's better. I don't know how else to tell you that. I just think he put in the work.
I understand, Skip. Appreciate the call. If anybody else, let me plug this in. If anyone else want to be part of the show, just hit me up at 706-801-5926. Love to hear from you. Hey, Skip, this is something we'll debate and chop it up for a long time. But
Kevin Jackson, calling Kevin Jackson, the great basketball mind. Calling Kevin Jackson.
Hey, be good, Skip.
Talk that Kevin Jackson stuff. Call in, brother.
Be good, Skip. I'll talk to you soon.
Right, stay on, brother.
Peace. Well. Thank you. Peace. Hey, that's Skip, longtime friend. We used to share the backcourts together. Sometimes go one-on-one. He get the best of me. I get the best of him. But at the end of the day, it was all love. We had fun. We had some wins. We had some losses. And we could just chop it up. Shout out to Jonathan. He said, Hayward is a better fit for Boston. I'm telling you guys, Paul George has a lot of talent. And this is no knock on him. But I just think that his off-the-ball skills, because his shot is not automatic, compared to Hayward, Hayward's his game is there, and it's only getting better. It's only getting better. So we got 2 games on tonight. Obviously, we got Cleveland and Toronto. I think Toronto has to win this game if they want to win the series. I look for Ibaka to have a big game. He's the X factor. He's got to outplay Kevin Love or neutralize Kevin Love. Kevin Love, it cannot be a big 3 tonight. Kevin Love has to be. Where was Kevin Love? That's in order for Toronto to win this game. They have to. The questions after the game has to be, where was Kevin Love? Cleveland's bench is a little bit suspect. They're not giving them the 100% that they were receiving last season and maybe early on in the season. So it's coming from the big 3. Neutralize Kevin Love. Toronto has a chance to win. San Antonio, of the top seeds remaining in these series, it's probably got the biggest threat on their hand. Houston Rockets is a match made in heaven for D'Antoni. Just a match made in heaven. He has 2 assassins coming off the bench in Eric Gordon and Lou Williams. And Lou Williams could not be happier. He could not be happier playing in a system where he could just come off the bench, sweat or no sweat, 0 for 20 or 20 for 20, and got a green light. Matter of fact, there's no traffic light. He's on the freeway. He could just drive. It's the Autobahn. He could do 100 miles an hour, 160 miles an hour. He does what he wants. San Antonio's in some trouble, guys. And the problem with San Antonio is this. They still have a traditional lineup. Oh, hold on. I got a call coming in. Got a call on the air. Who's calling?
This is Tracy.
Tracy, what's going on, Tracy? Good to hear from you.
Yeah, the San Antonio thing, man. Aldridge is man, and he ain't there, and that's the problem.
Well, here's the problem for San Antonio. You bring up Aldridge, and I think he is the problem. But what Pop has got to do is He's got to place him at the 5 and find somebody else to play the 4 to run after Ryan Anderson, because Aldridge cannot run out there. And by him trying to run out there and play off these pick and rolls, it's taken away from his offense. And here's my thing, Tracy. If I'm not gonna stop you from scoring 30, I'm gonna make sure I'm putting up 20, 25. And he ain't stopping nobody, nor is he putting it back. So Aldridge is the problem. He's the problem right now. And Pop is going to have to find out that he's going to have to play small and find someone to run after Ryan Anderson and let him go up against Capella.
Right. But his heart is not there. It seems like he's just lost in the sauce.
You know something, Tracy? Let me ask you this question. On every bad team, there's an MVP. And when you're playing on teams that you're not supposed to win or expected to win, you can just go have fun. Well, I bring this up. He was out in Portland. That was never expected to win, wasn't on no spotlight, never in front of a stage. There was no microphone. There wasn't no extra reporters or anything like that. So he was free to do what he wanted. He was an MVP. Just think. He left the team, and 4 other players left the team, and they still made the playoffs and even advanced last year. He goes to San Antonio. We forget. It's like he forgot to bring himself with him.
Right, the spotlight on him now.
Right. So is he really as good as we thought he was?
You know, some people can play in the season, can't play in the playoffs.
And that's what it could be. Or could he have can he be choking a little bit? Or is he salty that Kawhi Leonard is becoming a top 5 player in this league? And maybe he thought he was going to come there and be the next Tim Duncan. Them shoes are too big to fill. You see what I'm saying? So it starts and ends with Pop on what adjustments he made. But LaMarcus Aldridge must be better if they want to win this series. Otherwise, Houston can wrap this up in 5.
Yep. And it'd be a surprise to me, but they can't.
Yeah, it would be a surprise to me, but after what I saw 2 nights ago, if they win tonight, it's over.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's over.
Yo, I just wanted to hit you up and show you some love, my brother.
Oh, I appreciate it. I see your comments, your notes. When I talk baseball, I know you got love for baseball as well, so I try to tag you from time to time. But yeah, anytime I'm on the air and you want to call in, I appreciate it. If you want to chime in, I appreciate it too. Much love to you. Thanks for the call.
All right, brother.
All right.
And
so that's Tracy. Grew up with him in the neighborhood back in the days. Always was a sports fan. Good to hear from him. And he hit it on the nose for San Antonio. It's Aldridge. It is Aldridge. This guy was one of the most sought-after free agents during his free agency. He even told New York, I'm not even coming to visit you. He was that confident in himself. And he's been really a bust. Last year, he allowed Enes Kanter and Steven Adams to bully him around or outplay him. And now this year, he just looks lost in this Houston series. But Pop has to make the adjustment and play small. Put him at the 5. Maybe Jonathan Simmons starts. Put him on Ryan Anderson. Someone who can go out there and guard the perimeter. I don't know if you put Kawhi on him. You might need to put Kawhi on Trevor Ariza or either Harden. And Danny Green, what happened to his 3-point shot, guys? What happened to it? But if there's a team that can adjust and turn a series around, it's Pop and the Spurs. He can. But they don't have Tim Duncan there this season. Their leader is Kawhi Leonard. Is Kawhi a leader in the capacity that Tim Duncan was? I don't think he's there yet. This still is led by Pop. And this is a big game. They cannot go to Houston 0-2. They can't. They can't. So with those two games, great. Listen, I'm going to wrap up soon, but I have to talk just a slight bit of NFL. My phone, I got an alert from one of the sports apps that I follow, and they came out with the first NFL power rankings after the draft. And there was some usual suspects up at the top of the list, and I'm not here to rank the rankings or grade it. You know, I just respect it. But they had Patriots number 1, Steelers number 2, Cowboys number 3, Falcons number 4, Raiders number 5. I mean, that all sounds good to me and everything. You still got to play the games. This is where it get a little dicey for me. They got the Seahawks number 6. I'm not sure about the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are a declining product. Okay? They had the Packers number 7, the Giants number 8. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is like the darling of the league, you know. The Giants, yeah, I can live with that. The Chiefs number 9, Broncos number 10. The one that stood out for me the most, and I agree with it, they had the Jets 32, dead last. You below the Rams. You below the Browns. By the way, I think the Browns had an excellent draft. Okay? You're below the 49ers. And guess what? I agree with them. And I'm a Jet fan. A long time, disappointed, defeated, disgusted Jet fan. After this draft, I don't know what direction you're heading in. I don't know what direction you want to go into. You come to the draft, you need everything. You need everything. You got an agent running back. You let go Brandon Marshall. You let go Darrell Revis. Your defense got torched in the secondary. You gave up the most yards per pass or whatever it might be last season. You don't have a quarterback. And your first 2 picks are safeties. I don't have a problem with who you pick. But what I do have a problem with is picking 2 safeties in a row when you need a quarterback. And then you start trading back from the 4th round on down or the 3rd round on down to get more draft picks of lesser talent. Go figure. Go figure. So when the NFL Power Rankings came out this morning, the first one from the draft, and had the New York Jets 32, the team that I root for, I agree. And that's sad. Really disgusting. But that's what I get for rooting for the Knicks, the Jets, and the Mets. The last championship win between those 3 teams was 1986. The amazing Mets. In 1969, 1970, it was a complete sweep. The Miracle Mets won in 69. Broadway Joe, the Jets won in 69. And as it's turned, the Knicks won in 70. Will I ever see anything like that again? I happened to be born at the time. I was probably 2-3 years old. But the Jets, who is running this organization? It's really a Mickey Mouse organization. It cannot put together 3 solid years. It cannot put together 3 solid years of improvement year after year. Maybe the last stretch was with Keyshawn Johnson, Curtis Martin, Vinny Testaverde, and Bill Parcells. Chad Kelly, Mr. Irrelevant, was picked by the Denver Broncos. He's better than any quarterback that we have on the roster. Reminiscent of the year we passed on the uncle, Jim Kelly, when we took Ken O'Brien in the first round. Oh yeah, Dan Marino was still in the green room as well, coming out of the University of Pitt. Who's running the Jets? The only pick we got right was Keyshawn Johnson. Yeah, Darrelle Revis was a good pick, but was he highly sought after coming out of college? I think we just landed on that pick. Maybe very similar to the K. Porzingis pick by Phil Jackson. Who's running the New York Jets? You're ranked number 32 after the draft. You made no improvements to a team that looks like Swiss cheese because there's so many holes on the squad. That's going to do it for my show today. If I don't get back at you, enjoy the fight. I got Canelo taking out Chavez. But enjoy the rest of the playoffs. Hope to get at you soon. I want to thank my guests, Skip for calling in, Tracy for calling in, Kev, first time seeing him tune in. He has some good insight to offer. Appreciate his insight, his knowledge. Jonathan, high school, a buddy of mine. Appreciate him tuning in. And those who may have peeked and I didn't get a chance to see, I appreciate all of you. This is Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Y'all have a blessed day.